Hi everyone, it's craftytinas. In today's video I want to talk to you about boxes, specifically a 2-inch by 4-inch by 2-inch tall box. I want to show you how to make it using the envelope punch board and the explosion board. Now we've already made a 4-inch by 2-inch box using the explosion board, but we're going to go and do another one just as a refresher because I want to show you the difference between what a box made here looks like compared to a box here. Now, this board is the envelope punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. It is no longer dark gray and dark teal. It is more their current colors, the like white and the light teal. Now, this board I don't believe is currently still being made. They have what is called the 1-2-3 board, which makes the envelopes and it has the measurements for the boxes. So if you get that, that's great. I don't know what size boxes it lists on the board, so it may already have this measurement for you and you may not need the chart I'm going to show you. However, most of us old school people that have been doing paper crafts for a very long time have this very used, very loved envelope punch board. So let's get more use out of it than just our envelopes. The other thing is the explosion box board is made for boxes, but it is only demonstrating these sizes. You only get 6 sizes. Now in my other video on this board, I show you how to not only get 6 square sizes, I also show you how to do rectangles so that you can do other size boxes. The reason we are doing a 4-inch by 2-inch box today, and this one is adorable, this is double-sided cardstock and it came out really pretty. The reason we are doing these today is because I had someone ask, can I make a box larger than the boxes we did in a prior video to hold my gift tags? Now, making this box bigger is a little bit more complicated because of the size limits you have with both your cardstock and your board. So instead of making this specific type box, I'm going to make a different type box made to hold your 2-inch tags. Now, if you made some of these tags in 2¼ inch, I am also going to give you the size to make it so that it will hold your 2¼ inch tags. Because we made some 2¼ inch tags in that video and they won't fit in this box. This is specifically for the 2-inch tags. Now, also, this box being 2x4, you can put your cards or your tags in there flat. You can also use the same lid to close up this box to give it as a gift. Or you can leave them standing up, and I believe you can get more than even 24 cards in here. You can put this in a clear cellophane bag, and this is an adorable gift. So let me show you how to make both of these boxes and give you the measurements and how to. This box obviously can be very decorated, just like this one. I did use some little gold brads, so I'm going to show you how to do that. This box is very simple. There are no tabs on top, so you don't have any tabs to either fold on the outside, such as this, or on the inside, like I did this one. You don't have the folding tabs. You only have the smooth cut, flat top to your box. That's the difference in these two boxes. You don't have the tabs, so you're not going to get the same look, but you're going to get the absolute same size. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a 6x8 piece of cardstock, and I used the explosion board, scored it 2 inches on all sides to get this box. This was a square piece of cardstock, 7 by 7/8 by 7 7/8, a square, not a rectangle, even though the box is a rectangle. I did cut these two little flaps off, and you'll see that, but this square gets punched and scored on this board. I cut 4 little snips, and this makes this box. They're both made. The only difference in these two boxes is this flap was folded out, this flap was folded inside. And the reason I did that was purely for 2 separate looks. I wanted it to be different, and this really, really changed it. For the outside, I moved both flaps to the outside. For this one, this is double-sided cardstock, so I had this peach beige color on one side and this green color on the inside, or on the other side, and it gave for an interesting look. This one was cardstock printed on one side, white on the other. Normally, you would put your print on the outside of the box and the inside would be white. But because I put the flaps outside, I wanted that look. I wanted the white box with my printed look. It is purely optional. You could reverse this, have the print on the outside, white on the inside, so your box would be printed and it would have white flaps. Or you would fold these flaps inside and your entire outside would be your print. And we'll go through that as well. So you have multiple options, just basically how you close up your box. It's not really about the size of paper or how to cut it or how to score it. All of that's the exact same. It's just how you close your box up. It's how you're going to get that look. So let's start with the simplest. This one is an easier box to make. It is a basic box. Sorry about the staples. This was in a quick video showing you so many different sizes that I was stapling them as I went. This makes a quick finish. And if you are decorating this box, there is no reason you cannot put staples in it. I would just put a piece of cardstock on the inside and some kind of border, either ribbon or paper or something on the outside, and you will never see those staples, but they hold it very well. They're very secure, and you don't have to worry about the heat, especially in Florida, unsticking your box. But to make a simple box, you can use this board, or you can use a regular scoring board. In order to know what size you need to do, because remember, the sizes are not on here, if you jump over to my Facebook page, you can get one of my printouts. Now I have all of these on my Facebook page. They're PDFs, there's no charge. You just pop over there, grab whichever one you want. I do sheets for the shadow box, the cinch, the mini cinch, the explosion board, and I have now started an envelope punch board sheet. These are all half pages, they're double-sided. They're made so that you can bind into a book. And when I get the universal cinch that is on its way, I'm going to show you how to bind these into a spiral notebook where you can change these out as I add more sizes, because the cinch is now 2 pages front and back and still growing, because that's one of the original things I started the spreadsheet for. But I have so many different types of spreadsheets. Just go to my Facebook page and look in the files. Now, these are the 2 we're going to use today, and I know the envelope punch board, I have more sizes. I only have on the sheet right now the 2 sizes we're going to use today, and that is the 2x4 and the 2¼ by 4. So we're going to set all these to the side. We're going to put this with the envelope punch, and we're going to look at the explosion box. The explosion box is kind of like what it sounds like. It is intended to make a box that explodes or opens up. This is exactly what this board is intended to do, and we are going to get there, because if you put these in layers, then you have multiple boxes exploding as you take the lid off. I so far have been making so many other things. I haven't had a chance to fully show you what an explosion box looks like. I made these years and years ago, way before this board ever existed, because you can do this on a scoring board. So that's the intent of this board, but we've been making boxes with it. So let's continue. For the explosion box, there are square sides. This is what is on this, and they are squares, and that's the only ones you can have are these. This tells you what size paper, but it does not tell you the size box. It just says extra small, extra extra small, all the way to extra extra large. It doesn't tell you the size. So I have put that on the spreadsheet so that not only do you know the paper size, because it's here, but you know what size your box is, because to me that's important, more important than small, medium, and large. I want to know what size that box is. This only makes square boxes. We're looking for a rectangle. Down here are my sizes and my version of the dimensions. So we're going to make a 2-inch long by 4-inch wide by 2-inch tall. So we're going to use this one. So we have to start with a piece of paper, or cardstock, I should say, not paper, 6 by 8. And that's what we have here. We have a 6 by 8. Now I've cut another piece of paper here so I can show you. I don't want to just tell you how, I want to show you. Once you have your 6 by 8 piece of cardstock, you need to score it at 2 inches. If you're using a scoring board, you're going to use the 2-inch mark and put a score on all 4 sides. This, again, does not have sizes. It goes from extra small to extra large. However, I've already done the math for you. It tells you that you want to score on the extra, extra small. The extra, extra small is the 2-inch line. You have a 2-inch line for extra, extra small, 3 inches medium, and 4 inches extra, extra large. It would have been nice if they put the little number right above. I think the reason they did that was because this is the 2-inch and this is the 3-inch. Well, these are evenly spaced, so this is 1/3 of an inch, 2/3 of an inch. That would have been a little harder for them to explain. However, we know to do the extra, extra small because it's on here. If you're using a scoring board, you are going to go 2 inches from your paper's edge out. You want to go 2 inches. For this board, we're going to go to the extra small and we're going to score the paper. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. So you're going to rotate your paper, do the extra small again. And if you're on a scoring board, you're going to go 2 inches again, turn it, extra small again, 2 inches, turn it, extra small again, 2 inches, turn, and we already have that line. So now, if you can see, we have a box in the center, and that center box is 2 by 4. That is how big our finished box is going to be. With this board, it has a diagonal line for you already. You can do this on your scoring board. Just use your little triangle if you have it, or just put on the scoring line from the corner to the corner edge. You need the 4 corners to have a diagonal score line. You don't need to go past, or you don't want to go past, the scoring corner. So you're just going from corner to the corner of your scoring lines, stopping at the corner, stopping at the corner. So now I have a scoring line, sometimes it's easier for you to see this way, that goes diagonal from the point to where the 2 scoring lines meet in all 4 corners. Now we have this. I'm going to put my scoring tool back. Whoops, it goes flying across the floor. We put our scoring tool back and move it out of the way. Now we need to fold this. So you're going to fold all the way around that 2-inch border scoring line. And now I have all 4 sides of my box. The line here is going to be folded on the inside, just like I have it here. I chose to put both flaps on the small side. You can put the flaps on the large size, or you can put the flaps on the outside. It would give it this look right here. Not this, just this look. So it is entirely up to you at this point how you want your card to look. These are on the inside, so I'm going to show you what they would look like on the outside. If you wanted them on the inside, you're going to fold them inside. If you want them on the outside, you're going to fold them to the outside. And you're basically just bringing your score line to score line so that you can flatten that triangle diagonal score line. And now I have a box with my flaps on the outside. You can choose to put them on the long side or the short side. We're going to put them on the short side. So we're going to fold them back across each other, and that is what the outside of my box will look like. For this video, I'm just going to staple it to save some time, but I wanted you to show you the inside is plain, the outside looks like a milk carton fold, whatever kind of fold you would like it to be. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, you can fold these in the inside so that they would be on the inside of the box. I'm putting mine on the outside and I'm stapling. And there's my folds showing on the outside and nothing showing on the inside. Again, the staples are showing. If you choose to cover them up, that's fine. You can color staples. If you take a Sharpie, like a red or green or black, and you color the top of your staple, then your staple here will be that color, just in case you wanted some colored staples. I think they even make colored staples now, but that's a quick fix if you wanted them to be colorful. And that is our box that is 4 inches by 2 inches using the explosion board. So now let's make this exact same box using the envelope punch board so we can see what kind of flaps we get and what we're going to do with them to make different types of boxes. Sorry, I can't talk today. So this was how we cut out the explosion. We needed the 6 by 8 and we're scoring 2 inches on all 4 sides. Now we're going to do where the envelope punch board turns into a box. For this particular size, and this is the 2 inch by 4 inch, we need a 7 by 7/8 sheet, 7 by 7/8. So it is a square sheet, and it's going to always be a square sheet no matter what size your box is. For now, I'm still playing with this. We might explore some other things for this board. We're going to take another piece of double-sided. This has green on one side, more peach and brown on the other, has a little bit of teal in there. I don't have a lot of double-sided cardstock. I never used double-sided a lot. But for this, I really like the double-sided look. So let's make another one. According to our sheet, if I'm making a 2 by 4 by 2, my paper cut needs to be 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. And this tells me where I need to punch and line. The first punch and line is at 1 7/8. So we're going to go 1 inch 7/8. And take our little scoring tool out of here. We're going to put this back on the 1 7/8, and that's this indicator right here. You don't have to guess, it even says 7/8. We're going to punch, and we are going to score all the way down, and put your finger there and don't go off the board, but go all the way to the end, and I'm going to show you why in a second. You want to go as close as you can without going off. Let me scoot this up. That way you guys get a really good look. And I used my finger to see where the edge of the board was. I've punched and scored. My second punch line is 4 5/8. So I'm going to slide this down to 4 5/8, and that number is on here. So you don't have to worry about trying to figure out where it is. It is on the actual board. I do like the dark gray better with the white writing. I don't so much care for the light color teal with the writing because you can't see it as well. Once we move down, we're going to punch, and we're going to score all the way off the paper this time because our paper doesn't come off the scoring board. And now we have 2 punches and 2 score lines, and it's very hard to see these, so I'm going to have to show them to you as we go. We're going to rotate our paper and using the score line, not the numbers. You only do that for the first and the second. You do not use that anymore. When I first started with this board, that was the hardest thing not to do. If your box is square, those numbers will line back up again. If it is a rectangle, it's only going to line up every other side, and you're going to forget what side. So trust me, you're going to go with the score line. The score line needs to line up to this little tab, stick, foot, whatever this thing is called. It's a little piece of plastic that sticks out in a point. That is where your score line goes. Here's my score line, and here's that little foot. You're going to line it up, and if you can't see it, you can easily feel it. You see this does not line up to any of the numbers we used, and that is because they're not the numbers we need to use. So you're going to line it up to the score line, you're going to punch, and you're going to score. all the way down off the paper. You're then going to move this over to the next score line. And if you went all the way to the very tip, your score line actually stops where this little foot begins. So if you don't go all the way down, your score line might stop here. You won't have it to continue. But because I went all the way to the edge without going off, my score line goes exactly to the little tip. So I'm going to punch, and again, you see that it's not lined up to anything. We used our score line. And I'm going to score. I'm going to rotate it again. I'm going to put it to the first score line. Now here's something cute. It lines up, and that is because it's on the opposite side of our beginning. But don't use this because you don't want to get into that habit. But something to note in case you look up and it matches and you get worried, if you're on the third side, it's going to line up because it's matching the first side. So we are going to punch, we are going to score our line, and again, we're going to bring our finger down here so we can feel where the very end of the board is, and it's right there. Now we're going to move it over to the second line, and we're going to feel for that score line, line it up, and you notice it lines up because we're on side number 3, which matches this side. We're going to punch and score. And now we're going to go to the fourth side. The fourth side will not line up, but it will be the same numbers that was on side 2. We're going to line up our score line, punch and score. And you will notice when you are scoring to a side that already is punched, your score line is going to meet the center of that. That is our first score line. We're going to slide it over to the second one, and it goes just to that tip. It lines up here. We're going to punch and score. And now we have this shape. Not sure which one looks better for you guys to see, but we should have 2 punches on each side and a score line going to every punched hole from each punched hole. The center has a rectangle in the center that is 2 by 4 inches. This is the exact shape that you want to see. This is what this envelope punch board actually punches in order to make a box. Because remember, when you're making an envelope, you only have 1 punch on each side. It's important to note that the 2 punches is what makes your box. So let's get started and see how we're going to make this one. Are we going to put them inside, outside? We can put them wherever we want. This is the look you get when you put it inside, and this is the look you get when you put it on the outside. Let's make this one with the 4 on the outside, like this one. First thing you want to do is you want to fold your lines. Now here's where we need that diagonal line. When we were using our board over here, we used a diagonal line for the corners. We don't have that with this punch board, but I'm going to show you a trick in order to use it. You don't have to use it. I'm going to show you how to use it and how not to use it. We're just going to fold all our score lines. Now, if you have cardstock that has a white center and you notice that when you score or when you fold, it's starting to look worn out and you can see the white through it, that is okay. I'm going to show you how to remedy that, especially with an antiquing look paper. So these corners here represent the same corners that we had before, and we put a diagonal score line so that we could fold them. The same thing happens here. We need that fold line. So there's 2 ways you can get it. We can use a score line or we can fold it ourselves. If you bring the 2 scored lines together, you'll know exactly where to fold. And you can fold it yourself. Just like that. You bring the 2 score lines together and then using your hand, fold. If you're not comfortable enough doing that, or your hands don't work, mine don't always, there are good days and bad days, you can score this on this board. And I'm going to show you a little trick. I need to score this right here. So I'm going to close it up. This is a score line. I'm going to line up underneath the 10.5 by 10.5 mark. I'm going to line it up so that this is straight. I'm going to put that score line where the score line meets my cardstock. So this is my score line. I'm going to hold this down, open the flap, and score it to that center peak. Now I have my perfect score line already folded. I have very little to do, little effort folding it up. Let me show you that again. This is my corner. I realize it's more of a diamond shape than a square. I'm going to fold it over, line it up underneath the 10.5 writing, or you can line it up anywhere you want as long as this score line touches the score line you're going to make and this is straight. I can't score it like this or like this. It has to be straight with the board. And that's why I was just using this little measurement, seemed to be working perfect to put it right underneath the 10.5. I'm going to hold this down and open it back up and score to the matching lines. Okay, we're going to do that for all 4 sides. And once you do one, it really is quite easy to line it up. You don't even really think twice about it. And now I have all 4 corners have my score line. And I thought so. This one was off because I was talking and not paying attention. And if it is off, you can manipulate it to be folded where you want it to get it back in line. So here is my box. At this point, I need to decide if these are going to go in or out. I liked this going out because this flap covered it. So we're going to do that again. So if that's the case, I want to look at the small side. That's the little small point, not the big one. This is the big point. This is the small one. I want to look at this point and I want to fold these out. So I'm going to turn those score lines around. And with score lines, it doesn't matter what side you score on. You can fold it on any side you want. And now I have folded those flat on the outside. And this is going to fold over them to give it this nice clean look. And the inside is going to be totally flat. So for this, you actually need, like 3 hands when you're doing these things. I just took some score tape. I wanted to put a piece at the top because that's going to hold this surface, and this surface. I'm getting 3 surfaces all tucked in together. Then I want to take a smaller piece of score tape and I want to put it across here for some more stability to hold the flap down. I don't want it to be seen, I just want enough to hold it. So I'm going to mash this down pretty good because there's multiple layers there I want it to hit. And then I can take my paper off. And then I fold my inside flap out and I get this pretty look. It looks like an envelope, guys. It's really cute. And the inside has nothing. Now these are going to be folded out, so I'm going to go ahead and fold them out to get them out of my way, but we have to do something else with them. So let's go over to this side and do it first. Remember, we're folding the little flaps out. The little flappies are out. Folding them back so that we can get that same look on the other side that we had. And then this will be folded down. I like to fold them before I bother putting the score tape on to make sure everything's lining up good. If it's slightly off, it's okay. Your score lines, your measurements, your cut of your paper, it's all going to be just slightly off no matter what you do. So don't fret if it looks like it's a little lopsided because it's not going to make too much of a difference. So I want to put enough score tape to cover the 2 sides and what it's sticking to. So So your score tape needs to be almost the entire distance. I left a little. Put this down. Now I want to put a smaller piece down below the little point, just so that it's not seen, but it's good coverage. So we're going to smash this down really well. When it comes to the boxes, you want to get a really good stick. If you're using glue, make sure you sit there and hold it or put a clamp on it so that it actually sticks to all the layers really well. So now we have our other cute little side. So now what about these? They're going to go outside again because I like the look. However, you see they're longer than our actual box. There's two ways you can fix this. You can cut it, just cut it straight with the box. You could cut it shorter than the box so that you have more of this showing. Like you could cut it way up here. You could use a paper punch that will take a corner paper punch that will take off enough of this. There are so many different ways, and I'm just going to do it the way I did this one, and that is I folded it to the right length of the box, and then I folded it under so that it set right at the end of my box. I'm trying very hard not to cough, but I've definitely got some allergies going on today. We are going to untape it and press it down. You notice I only put one piece of score tape for this big area. I want it to stand up. I want it to look like it's just opened and not really plastered down. It's a personal preference. You can tape all the way around if you would like. So now let's go over and do the other side. And now we have, it lines up with the bottom. So we're going to come in and put a piece of score tape to hold that flap down, the little triangle we folded down, and to hold the little flap on the outside of our box. And again, I only use one piece because I want the look of it being almost flat, but not quite flat. Just kind of give it that 3D-ish look. Now, remember I talked to you about what happens if you're using cardstock that has a white center and it's a dark color so you see it. So here's the example. I don't know if you can see it, but can you see all the white? That is the inside of the cardstock showing through. But if you look on this side, you don't see any of the white. All I did to remedy this problem, and you can do this for anything, a card, a box, pretty much anything you want. And I never have everything when I need it. So I'm missing my little dabber that will actually put ink on a sponge. Give me 1 second. I'll just grab another one. That's why you have lots of things in your craft room. We're just going to take another one. It doesn't matter what color because this is a dark color. I'm going to dab some gray on here, or some brown on here. You can use brown, you can use black, you can use any color you want really. And you're just going to dab that white. You don't want to soak it too much because ink is wet. You don't want to make the white worse. But because you're dabbing that, go ahead and dab the entire top of that box, because it's going to give it a really nice shading look and look like it's a really finished project, especially in the corners because sometimes they look white. And if you dab all the way around the top of that box, not only are you going to get rid of that white look, you're going to give it a shading look. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it looks like it hasn't been cut. And that's the look you really want to go for. If any of your edges show, you can do the same thing with them. You can lightly dab it so it doesn't look like it's got shading. You're just covering up the white. Or you could shade all the way around this like you would do if you were scrapbooking or card making, and actually cover it up and make it look really nice and professional. This is the little finger dabber. I lost the brown one somewhere. I will find it once I'm done with the video. So here's the finished box. It has all these little flaps on all four sides. Because it's double-sided paper, it looks really good. Now I want to show you how to add a braid. I'm sorry, these are brads. I've heard them called braids and I've heard them called brads. So I'm not really sure what their total name is. And I had these separated and dropped them one day and decided just to put them all in one thing, and that was a very bad decision. Let's put 2 silver ones on this one. You can use your crocodile and put an eyelet on each end. That would be a great thing to do if you were going to use a ribbon to put a handle on this box. Now the next thing you need, guys, I just give up. You need something that is going to poke a hole big enough for your actual braids. Now, you just grab a ton of things out of your drawer. Pretty much anything will do, but it just has to be sharp. Here we go. I have one of these sitting here ready for me to use for this video, and again, it's totally vanished. I think that happens on purpose. I want to add one anywhere I want. I don't really want to add it down in the point because that is the thinnest, weakest section of the paper. You can if you like. I really want to add it right here. Right before the thickness starts, to keep it away from the very, very edge. And all you do is punch a hole. These little guys are like little nails, but they have 2 pieces of metal side by side. You're going to put both those pieces into the hole. And then on the other side, you're going to separate those 2 pieces of metal. And I'll show you in 1 second what that looks like. You're basically, there we go. You're basically separating those 2 pieces of metal so that they go in opposite directions. Once you get them there and you're sure that's where you want them and everything looks good, mash them really well flat. Like you could probably see these better. You just mash them flat. They're going in opposite directions, and that leaves them secure. They come in different shapes, different colors, different sizes. These are square, these are round. I have snowflake ones that are really cute. Because I put it right below the bulk and straight up from the point, I don't have to measure to get both sides close. Both sides are going to be very, very close to the same. You can't see both sides at the same time anyway, so you're never going to know if they're just slightly off. But because I chose a specific place, I can get them so close. And then you just split the 2 pieces of metal. There we go. So that they're going in opposite directions. And that holds them on. Now, the beauty of these is you could push them back together and remove this. So if later you decided you wanted a handle, you can remove these, add your handle, and put it back. Unlike an eyelet, you can't do that for. So this is the little 2x4 box, guys. This is 4 gift tags, and I am actually doing this video to answer one of my followers saying, can we make a bigger box? But the other intention of this video is the next video, I'm going to show you how to make more gift tags. We're going to be using some really decorative corner dies that I just got to make some new tags for Christmas, because we're ready to get ready for Christmas, right? We're going to make more tags in the next video, so I wanted to make a larger box for the person that requested it, and also so we can make more tags to fit in our box. These boxes are going to be great gifts. You can also use the lid, the same lid we made in the other video. You can use the lid on these if you would like. I think I will go and get the dimensions for the lid worked out with the envelope punch board so that we can make lids with this board. So if you don't have this board, you don't have to worry about that. But that's all I have for you in this video. Make sure you subscribe because a lot more videos are about to come out. It's Christmas time and you're going to need all the ideas you can get. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy crafting!